In this podcast episode, Ludwig Ahgren discusses his journey in the streaming world and his shift towards focusing on optimizing for fulfillment rather than just chasing success metrics. He talks about the challenges and pressures faced by successful streamers who often struggle with depression despite their financial success. He reflects on his own experience of hitting a low point after a period of high viewership, which led him to reevaluate where he places his self-worth. Ludwig shares that he initially started a podcast to help his friends achieve financial success by sharing the revenue generated from the podcast. This decision was driven by his desire to see his friends benefit from his success and to create a platform where they could all contribute equally. The podcast, called The Yard, has been successful, generating $214,000 a month on Patreon. During the podcast, Ludwig's height is discussed, with him claiming to be 6'3" tall. He explains that he includes the height of his hair and shoes in this measurement. The conversation veers into a discussion about hairstyles and the importance of appearance in the streaming world. Ludwig emphasizes the importance of finding fulfillment in various aspects of life beyond just professional success. He mentions different buckets of fulfillment, including relationships, family, work, and contributing positively to the community. He talks about the need to have multiple sources of fulfillment to avoid placing all value in one area, such as viewership metrics. Ludwig shares that he finds fulfillment in his work, particularly in running his production company and creating engaging content. He highlights the joy he experiences when working with his team and producing successful shows. He emphasizes the importance of creating a company that will last beyond his own career and making a positive impact through his work. The conversation delves into the topic of ego and self-worth, with Ludwig acknowledging his own struggles with ego. He discusses the balance between confidence and humility, recognizing the importance of putting ego aside and focusing on meaningful contributions rather than personal validation. The discussion shifts towards ethical considerations in content creation, particularly in relation to drama-focused content. Ludwig reflects on his experience with creating drama-focused content on his channel Mogul Mail and the ethical conflicts it raised for him. He shares his decision to upload less drama-focused content and focus on topics he is personally passionate about. Ludwig acknowledges the power and influence of drama channels like Penguin Zero and the potential negative consequences of their content. He discusses the fine line between reporting on controversial topics objectively and inciting hate or negativity towards individuals. He reflects on the responsibility that comes with having a large audience and the need to consider the impact of one's content on viewers. Ludwig talks about his approach to creating content that balances objectivity and sensationalism. He mentions his preference for providing a nuanced perspective on controversial topics rather than simply dunking on individuals who have made mistakes. He emphasizes the importance of considering different viewpoints and understanding the context behind controversial actions. He talks about a situation where a young content creator lied about his identity, claiming to be Black and Muslim when he was not. Ludwig made a video about this incident, receiving some backlash for a negative comment he made. He reflects on the importance of being empathetic and understanding different perspectives as he gets older. Ludwig also talks about his approach to taking chances in life, mentioning a significant decision he made by flipping a coin to choose between Twitch and YouTube. This decision led him to a better contract and shaped his career for the past 2 years. As he reflects on this, he emphasizes the importance of making informed decisions rather than relying solely on chance, especially now that he has a team of employees to consider. In terms of business ventures, Ludwig discusses his various companies, including Mogul Moves and Offbrand. Mogul Moves focuses on servicing his YouTube channels and merch, while Offbrand works with other creators to produce content and events. He shares his inspiration for creating Offbrand, drawing from his admiration for a company called Beyond the Summit and their successful esports events. He aims to combine high-quality productions with popular creators to attract more brand sponsorships. Ludwig also delves into his bidet company, which offers bidet products. He explains the structure of the business, including the small team involved in managing merch drops and the website. The bidet products have been successful, with over 10,000 units sold. Ludwig highlights the popularity of the more affordable bidet option, which is easier to install compared to the pricier model that requires an outlet for heating water. When discussing the future of his YouTube channel, Ludwig expresses a bearish mentality, acknowledging that all things eventually come to an end. While he recognizes the success of his channel, he believes it's essential to prepare for the possibility of becoming irrelevant in the future. He contrasts this perspective with a more bullish outlook, emphasizing the need to continue making significant moves to sustain his success. Regarding the landscape of live streaming platforms, Ludwig shares his thoughts on Twitch and YouTube. He predicts that Twitch will continue to thrive due to YouTube's lack of focus on live streaming features. He points out a specific issue with YouTube's video-on-demand accessibility for long live streams, highlighting the platform's shortcomings in catering to marathon streaming events. He talks about his journey on Twitch, mentioning the challenges faced by the platform in regulating content, especially with regards to gambling streams and e-girls. He highlights the evolution of Twitch's policies and the constant battle between streamers pushing the boundaries and the platform trying to maintain a certain standard. Ludwig shares his personal experience with gambling and how he had to set strict rules for himself to avoid spiraling out of control. He talks about his last gambling experience at TwitchCon and how he managed to win back some of his losses. Despite enjoying watching gambling streams, he acknowledges the potential risks and impact it can have on viewers, especially those prone to addiction. Moving on to investing, Ludwig provides an update on his portfolio, mentioning his 3.21% return over the past 4 years. He discusses his investment strategy, focusing on blue-chip companies and his cautious approach towards risky investments. He also talks about his retirement account and financial advisor, emphasizing the importance of planning for the future. Transitioning to a more personal aspect, Ludwig reflects on his journey towards finding fulfillment beyond financial success. He shares his recent interest in art and painting, which has become a new passion for him. He describes how he started painting as a hobby and eventually discovered a talent he never knew he had. Despite initially doubting his artistic abilities, he has found joy and satisfaction in creating art pieces. Ludwig discusses the shift in his mindset towards prioritizing activities that bring him fulfillment rather than solely focusing on monetary gains. He talks about his decision to reduce the frequency of his YouTube videos and explore other creative outlets like painting and playing the drums. He emphasizes the importance of moving into phase 2 of life, where one seeks fulfillment and purpose beyond financial success. Ludwig also shares his goal of reaching 50,000 YouTube members and making Offbrand profitable. He mentions that he is not solely focused on the financial aspect, but also on providing value to his audience. He talks about the shift in his mentality towards creating content that resonates with his viewers and ensures that they feel satisfied with their membership. Regarding his plans for the future, Ludwig mentions his interest in opening a bakery and baking bread. He expresses his love for good quality bread, especially baguettes, and his desire to bring that experience to his local community. He also discusses his preference for raising a family in a smaller, more down-to-earth environment rather than in a big city like Los Angeles. Ludwig talks about his upcoming motorcycle trip across Japan with Michael Reeves. He draws inspiration from Ewan McGregor's motorcycle journey and plans to embark on a similar adventure. He shares his excitement for the trip and the experiences they hope to have along the way. One of the significant announcements Ludwig makes is his decision to turn Offbrand into a workers' co-op. He explains that every employee will have ownership in the company and a say in major decisions. Ludwig aims to create a more collaborative and inclusive work environment where everyone's voice is heard. He believes that this approach will lead to a more sustainable and fulfilling company in the long run. In terms of his YouTube deal, Ludwig mentions that he now has the flexibility to stream on both Twitch and YouTube for events. He values reaching a wider audience and ensuring that his content has a significant cultural impact. He also discusses the need for improvements on YouTube, particularly in terms of tools and infrastructure for creators. He highlights the importance of caring more about the space and providing creators with better analytics and testing options. Ludwig touches on the topic of ad blockers on YouTube and the platform's efforts to combat them. He acknowledges the challenges of dealing with ad blockers, but believes that there will always be workarounds for those determined to bypass them.